Thank you very much, President Quirk-Bailey, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Hugely important that we all come out and celebrate when good things are happening for our community colleges and for higher education broadly. I am really pleased to be back here in Peoria and back here at ICC. Before we get on to the main topic of this gathering, I'd like to ask that we all pause to honor the lives lost 3 years ago today in the horrific workplace mass shooting in Aurora, Illinois. Their loss is a stain on our state's memory and an unspeakable tragedy in the lives of their families. So please join me in a moment of silence honoring the fallen and the 6 others, including 5 police officers who were injured that day. Thank you. We can never make up for such tragedies, but we must never forget them either. And most importantly, we must do all that we can to keep them from happening again. So with new laws and policies in place, the Illinois State Police stopped a record 25,000 illegal attempts to acquire a firearm in 2021. And I'm truly grateful for their continued vigilance. We will never let up. Thank you, and now I'll return to the topic at hand. There's no place better than right here at ICC to talk about increasing workforce skills and opportunities for Illinois residents. And no better people to lead that conversation than the forces behind Illinois' Workforce Equity Initiative, Dr. Sheila Quirk-Bailey, Mayor Rita Ali, and Leader Jahan Gordon Booth. I also want to recognize Leader Dave Kaler for his continued advocacy on behalf of Peoria families and his partnership in Springfield to get big things done for people all across the state of Illinois. Since its founding, the Illinois Workforce Equity Initiative has enrolled over 5,000 students across 100 highly in-demand training programs. From the College of Lake County to City Colleges of Chicago to Rock Valley College to right here at ICC, we're creating opportunities in underserved communities for Illinois residents to build great careers. And you should all be proud that ICC is the leader of this consortium, paving the way for the rest of the state. Programs in transportation and information technology and 21st century manufacturing have helped graduates land and retain well-paying jobs in high-demand occupations. That includes Danielle Pate, a 2021 graduate of ICC's Licensed Practical Nursing Program. In a few moments, Danielle will share her own story in her own words. So for now, I'll just say to Danielle, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, most importantly, for all that you do to care for your patients. When state government creates policies that really open doors for our residents, that's the kind of investment that we want to double down on, especially as we shape our pandemic recovery. So I've proposed that this year we create the Illinois Pipeline for the Advancement of the Healthcare Workforce, the PATH program. Modeled after the highly successful Workforce Equity Initiative, the PATH program will invest $25 million in our community colleges to remove barriers for recruitment and training of new frontline healthcare workers. Participants will be able to get an industry-recognized credential or community college certificate in the shortest possible amount of time while enhancing their eligibility for employment as nurses and certified nursing assistants, respiratory therapists, emergency medical technicians, and other high-demand positions. And we'll do so with built-in wraparound student support services, including, among other things, transportation and childcare, food vouchers, and tutoring. It's another way that we can make sure that these opportunities are reaching the people who need them most. On top of that, I'm proposing that we add $2 million to the Nursing Education Scholarship Program, as well as doubling funding for our nurse educator fellowships and our competitive grants for nursing schools. And finally, I'm proposing to eliminate licensing fees for 470,000 nurses and physicians, pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, respiratory care workers, social workers, and others in the coming fiscal year. That will save our healthcare workers $21 million in the coming year. And it's a small way of saying thank you, thank you, thank you for the amazing work that our healthcare heroes have done during this pandemic. Healthcare, manufacturing, business, law, no matter what profession they head toward, a great system of higher education has to be supported and affordable for our state's residents. And it's one big reason why at the beginning of my term I focused on achieving a three-part plan for higher education. First, increase MAP scholarships by 50% or $200 million. Second, make Illinois a top 5 state in getting more federal student assistance like Pell Grants for more students. And third, increase state support directly for institutions of higher learning. With the passage of this new budget I proposed earlier this month, we will not only have achieved all 3 of those objectives in my first 3 years in office, but also expanded MAP scholarships to cover the cost of short-term credentials and certificates, including those offered right here at ICC. We're finally making it more affordable for our students to get their degrees in Illinois, and our future is bright as a result. So thank you, and with that, I am excited to turn it over to your state representative and a leader in Springfield, my partner in the General Assembly, who's making education more accessible for students all across Illinois, and that's Leader Jahan Gordon Booth.
Good morning, ICC. So good to be home. ICC is home for me. The Workforce Equity Initiative and the concept of what this could look like was born right here at ICC about 14 years ago. I got my start at ICC, and ICC is the place where my love for public service and that love then extending into wanting to make people's lives better was born right here at ICC, working under the tutelage of Dr. Rita Ali. So this moment for me on a personal level, professionally and personally, is an incredible full circle moment, because as a young 24-year-old young woman working here at ICC, working with students like the students in WEI in our recruitment and retention capacity, I saw that there was an opportunity to better align what ICC was uniquely skilled to do in this community, which is tailor the educational needs to the workforce that was waiting for workers to be produced out of this, out of the work that we do here at ICC, frankly. And there was a mismatch between what individuals who would come into ICC, the employment opportunities that they would seek, but the ones that were actually available for them out here in the region and in the job place. So wanting to find a way to really begin to streamline that work was something that was always a passion of mine. And as time continued on, I obviously moved on to other things and went to the legislature. And as time has continued, we have seen a lot of inequities expand, not just here in Peoria, but in our country. Inequities have absolutely expanded, and to me, the community college system is uniquely positioned to meet those workforce needs of the 21st century in a way that, frankly, no other organization in our community has the capacity to do. So for me, when Governor Pritzker took office, that 24-year-old idea that was roaming around in my head, and I was talking to people about it, but no one believed Governor Pritzker believed. He believed that we could do it. He believed in the community college system. So when I said, and we're going to need about $18 million to do it, I remember talking to Dr. Quirk Bailey, who, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we could not have a better president leading this institution. We could not. Absolutely. Most presidents understand enrollment, most presidents understand retention, but what many folks miss is equity and what it means to have an equitable society where it isn't just a moral responsibility, but it is exactly what we should be doing for the economy of our community. The great American poet, Jay-Z, said, "Men lie, women lie, numbers don't." And the numbers for the Workforce Equity Initiative are the best in the country. Let me say that again. The Workforce Equity Initiative, the data and what is being churned out of ICC and the 16 other community colleges across the state of Illinois, it is the best model in the country. As a matter of fact, the Lumina Foundation, which is the largest workforce higher education foundation in the country, is using the Workforce Equity Initiative as a blueprint for the United States of America. Yes. That is happening because, again, the leadership that we have here at ICC, because of the individuals that are working within the Workforce Equity Initiative, because they are a critical component for the success of this program. But ladies and gentlemen, it all started with a belief that there are Danielles and Robert Earlys, who is not here today, but go Google them. There are Danielles and Robert Earlys all over this state, and we just have to find them and give them a path to run on. I want to thank you, Dr. Quirk Bailey. I want to thank you, Dr. Rita Ali, for all the work that you've done to make this a success. And I want to thank you, Governor Pritzker, for believing in our workers, for believing that the community college system has the ability to bring real-world solutions to the everyday issues that we're facing all across the state of Illinois. And with that said, I would be honored to bring my partner in crime in the Senate, my good friend, David Kaler, to the podium.
Ooh, Jahan is great. Ditto to all of what you said, because it's very true. And I don't care what the issue is, ICC is the answer. You know, you talk about equity, you talk about training, you talk about the lack of skilled workers in the workforce. ICC is the solution, and we're seeing that being proven right now. But I want to talk a little bit about what we do in the budgeting process. The budget is your priorities in action. You can't tell people that you have priorities to do this or that if you don't put it in the budget, right? This year, Governor Pritzker introduced a budget that I thought was nothing short of a miracle. And I serve as the co-chair of COGFA, which is the Committee on Government Accountability and Forecasting and Accountability, which studies all the numbers throughout the year. And it's kind of the partner with the Governor's Office of Budget and Management to make sure that if they're both saying the same thing, you know, it's pretty accurate. Where we thought we would be at this time maybe a year and a half ago, and where we are is just nothing short of a miracle. And I know people say, well, it's because the federal government bailed you out. No, it's not. I mean, sure, that helped. But it's because we had sound decisions that were made, and we invested in the right things. And that's what we're doing this year, is we're making investments in what are the priorities for the people of this state. Education. You know, we are expanding the educational budget because that's what we have to do if we're going to ever have a future that we want. So, Governor, I want to thank you just for the soundness and for getting us out of the hole that we were in 4 years ago, when we had 2 years of a budget impasse, when the universities were almost shutting their doors, to where we are today, where we have more money going into education at the primary level, K through 12, at the higher education level, this is important. This is what we do. And it now gives me great pleasure and great honor to introduce a friend of more than 40 years. And it's really fitting that this is about her being mayor and also being at ICC because of what she has done and the legacy she leaves here. But let's give a big hand to Dr. Rita Ali, Mayor of Peoria.
Good morning. Good morning, ICC. Good morning, family. It's always good to be at ICC. Whenever I'm talking to Dr. Quirk-Bailey or Kim or someone about ICC and what ICC is doing, they say, ICC, or we're going to do this, and I say, yes, what are we doing about this? Whenever it's ICC, it's always we. It's never they to me, because ICC has been such a big part of my life for so many years. In fact, even as an employee here, I took a lot of classes. I was thinking about that last night. I think I've taken enough classes to have an associate's degree here. We'll have to count those numbers up, but ICC is a big part of my life. I'm really happy to share this platform with all of these individuals that I have so much great respect for. Each of them are gifted leaders who have contributed so much to the Peoria area, the Peoria region, and for that, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Leader Gordon Booth and Leader Kaler always keep their ears to the ground, listening to the needs of this city and this region. They have worked closely with Dr. Quirk-Bailey and ICC to create and fund some of the best workforce programs in the nation. Programs that, I've been in the field of workforce and education for many years, but these are some of the best programs that I've ever seen. And Governor Pritzker has not only supported these programs, but now he's expanding them, putting more funding and resources behind them. And it comes at just the right time and just the right place. Contrary to what some may think, the Peoria area does not have a workforce people shortage. It does not. We have a workforce skills shortage. These new opportunities, the PATH program, the WEI program, will enable us to take many people that we already have in our community and give them, through this investment of workforce education and training, give them the skills that they need to fulfill all the jobs that we have available now and in the coming future. Investing in people is the smartest thing that we can do. And it will not only drive our community, our economy, but it will improve the daily lives of our citizens. Thank you for focusing on equity, which means leaving no one behind. And thank you, Governor, for never leaving Peoria behind in these opportunities. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, I want to introduce one of the superstars of the WEI Workforce Equity Initiative, a graduate of the LPN program, Ms. Danielle Pate.
Hello, my name is Danielle Pate. I am a former graduate of the WEI program. So what she said about investing in people, they really do invest in people. During the time, I think I was going to attend another school, but I randomly got a call from ICC, from a recruiter, about this opportunity to join a workforce equity initiative. and that they were going to fund me through school, help me with anything that I need, and that's exactly what they did. I really do appreciate the opportunity. It was definitely a blessing to be able to focus mainly on school and, receive any assistance that I needed at the time, whether it's just maybe, putting gas in the car or receiving stipends to go towards any bills, and then also the resources, they can help with tutors, anything that you may need. They really push you and, assist you and coach you. And also they're just a safe haven and they walk you through it. I mean, yes, we have to put in the work. It's a tough program, but if you apply yourself, you can definitely get it done. I've been in the healthcare field for a while now. I was actually a CNA for over about 10 years. So it really was, again, just such a blessing for me to receive the opportunity to pursue nursing and also graduate, also pass the NCLEX on the first try. Thank you very much. As you can see, I'm in my uniform now. I'm in my scrubs. I'll be picking up at work later on today. But again, I want to thank you guys. I really appreciate this. You guys are very supportive, very, very supportive. If there were any problems, we'd call them and they would get with us and get it resolved somehow, some way. So thank you very much again for this opportunity. And I hope, other future or potential nurses join this program. Yes. It's an awesome program, very awesome program. I know it's hard, with dealing with your daily lives or, working and going to school, but they help with so much. They really do. So again, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to bring the governor up for a Q&A. Thank you.
Happy to take any questions from members of the media.
Governor Pritzker, what is your response to critics who would say that the state's spending and taxing levels is what's driving residents out of the state and then conversely impacting the amount of revenues they can produce?
Well, what drives people out of a state is instability. And that's what we had before I became governor. We had 2 years without a budget. State government was hollowed out. The programs, like programs that support students who want to go to ICC, were decimated. The investments in our institutions taken away. And over the last 3 years, we balanced the budget. Now we have a surplus for the first time in 25 years. We're able to do things. We passed a major capital bill that invests in our educational institutions, as well as our roads and bridges. We have the #1 infrastructure in the country as a result of that. CNBC has named us that. And things are really moving in the right direction. We had COVID in between. So, this is all a challenge for everybody, and we're obviously dealing with all of those challenges. But I would say things are moving in the right direction, and indeed, we have not had a surplus in quite some time, and we're being very responsible about how we're utilizing that surplus, both to get people into school, to make sure that we're upgrading our educational institutions, but also to pay the bills that were left behind in just 5 years ago from that budget impasse. We brought down the $17 billion bill backlog to less than $3 billion, and it's going down even further. We've paid off the College Illinois debt of $230 million in this upcoming budget, and we put money in the rainy day fund. I just want to stop for a moment and tell all of you that the average state in the United States has about 29 days of money in their rainy day fund to pay bills, 29 days of bills they can pay. In Illinois, we have 15 minutes. So we need to upgrade that, and so I put money in this budget into the rainy day fund because, as we all found out in 2020, there are rainy days that come. and we need to have those dollars available. So I think we're in a much more stable path than we've been in quite some time, and I'm pleased that we're moving forward in that direction.
How concerned are you about inflation right now and how it may impact the state's economy and personal finances of residents?
Look, let's start with the fact that global inflation is a challenge for everyone. Here in Illinois, our obligation is to try to help people deal with that. And so that's why I introduced $1 billion of tax cuts that will go right into the pockets of consumers, whether it's cutting the grocery tax, cutting property taxes, freezing the gas tax. These are all things that I think help in a variety of ways for families across the state. We need to do more whenever we can, and we're only able to do this, by the way, because we balance the budget, because we have a surplus. We need to stay on that fiscal discipline path so that we can do these kinds of things to alleviate the burden of inflation. Look, I think we're going to see, I'm hoping that we'll see an abatement of the inflation that we've seen over the last couple of months. I know you hear 7 and 7.5%, which is a terrible number, and the highest in 40 years, I think. And I'm hoping, though, that was a 2-month period. We've had 7 and 7.5. I believe that things are beginning to abate. I don't want to promise that. I don't control global inflation, but I'm very hopeful of that. And so I'm hoping it won't have a deleterious effect on our economy.
One more from me, if I may.
Yes.
What was your reasoning behind continuing the legal proceedings in the school mask case when you're still intending to hopefully lift mask requirements in public places?
Well, let me start with the number one most important thing to me over the last 2 years has been keeping people alive and keeping people safe and healthy. And we've done better than almost every Midwestern state at doing just that. Indeed, we have the highest rate of getting shots in people's arms of any state in the Midwest. We have one of the lowest mortality rates, and we're seeing our hospitalizations take an enormous dive now, which is fantastic. Omicron seemed to have had an enormous rise, and then it's come down quite quickly. So I'm pleased that we're able to remove masks on February 28th, which is what the projected date is. And it does seem to be going in the right direction, continuing in the right direction since I announced that last week. In terms of schools, I want to be clear that a major priority is keeping kids learning in person in schools and keeping people healthy in schools. And so that's why we've had a mask requirement in schools for some time now. We have to make sure that schools continue to be safe. They're a special environment, 5 days a week, 6 to 8 hours a day. Kids and adults are packed into an environment in which it's easy to transmit the disease. And I know there are people who say young people don't get COVID as seriously as older people. Remember, there are parents and grandparents and teachers and staff all in that school. And yeah, there are immunocompromised kids who go to school too. So we want to make sure that that environment is protected, and we're watching very closely again as the hospitalizations go down and we remove masks for everybody else. We intend to keep moving forward and watching very carefully in our schools, and eventually we'll be able to do that there.
So do you anticipate in the future then that you would lift the mask mandate at schools?
Of course.
In spite of where the legal case goes?
Well, the legal case is got to run its course, right? That's a kind of a parallel question. I think it was badly decided, in my opinion. I think the one judge in one circuit made this decision, and it affects schools all across the state that had become a party to that. But our intention is to keep moving forward and moving again toward removing masks in schools.
Governor, do you plan on introducing any school programs like that to impact other Illinois?
We continue, so I'm glad you asked that question. It's not so much about introducing new programs, although PATH is a new program and it's focused on healthcare. And we do very much need people to come into the healthcare profession. It pays well. There are openings even now, so I hope people will take advantage of this PATH program. But it's as much about investing in the institutions, in MAP grants. We increased MAP grants by 50%. That's a big deal. That means that we can increase the amount of money that people get in a MAP grant, and it means that we can have more kids getting those MAP scholarships. That's enormously important. We are bringing down the cost of going to school in Illinois to community college or a four-year university, and we've got to do that. It keeps us competitive. It keeps kids here. People talk about people leaving the state of Illinois. An enormous number of the people that have left have been our students who want to stay here to get a higher education degree, but can't afford to do it because they have an offer from another state that's less expensive than Illinois. And so now we're finally going to become more competitive at keeping our own kids right here in our state. So I'm going to keep doing that. Those are the kinds of programs I want to invest in.
Well, I'm not the media, but if it's all right, Governor, first of all, comment, I'd like to thank you. I lost my mother to COVID in January of 2021 in an assisted living facility.
I'm sorry.
Just a few weeks shy of being able to be vaccinated. So I'd like to thank you for keeping the heat on long-term care facilities with respect to masks and vaccinations and testing, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I guess, we talk about, there are budgets, there are proposed budgets, and then there are finalized budgets. So I guess my question is, and I'm thrilled with the increase in MAP as a trustee for ICC, I'm thrilled with the increase in MAP funding that you're proposing. So do you have confidence that that is going to play out successfully this session?
Well, I don't want to turn around and point at the legislators that are here with me, but if they were standing here, I'm sure that they would say that they too believe in higher education and believe that we need to invest in our young people. And I won't force them to come up and answer your questions, but I think you know that they are hugely dedicated to providing more kids greater opportunities and lowering the cost of going to higher ed. The other thing we're doing, and I think because you're a trustee, I'll make this point especially to you, is we're widening the opportunity for MAP scholarships to more kids who want to come to get a certificate or a different kind of degree than just a four-year degree or an associate's degree. And so that's a big deal because it's been harder for community college students and adults, young people and adults to get either a certificate or a degree at a community college because of the timing, because of the amount of money, what's reserved for who within the MAP program. And so we're asking the legislature to kind of widen the aperture so more kids will have the opportunity. I keep saying kids, many adults too, have the opportunity to go to school. I'm sorry, I'm 57, so a lot of people are becoming kids to me as I get older. So.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Governor.
You bet.